Did I already start streaming? Oh yeah, I did. Okay. My sign will be at Hogwarts. It's at Central Irithyll.
Boat. Hogwarts? Hey, bet. Wait, I gotta get my gamer voice on. Yo, guys, let's see this. Come on. See this. Come on.
This place is very ancient. Show respect. Alright, let me know when you're ready, bro.
Hold on. Hold on. Alright, I'm ready. Let's go.
I'm following you. Ruh-roh, Raggy. What's the plan?
That's bad. Ow! I thought you died.
Heal,
Oh,
no,
it didn't.
don't heal. Did you just say
I
dinner's
gotta
ready?
go.
No fucking way.
Oh. Yeah! Alright, well, I'll be real quick. Be right back.
so fucking rusty with this game. I also hate how PvP in this game is literally like take turn central. It's like, oh, I'm gonna wait till someone does something and then I'm gonna utilize on it. It's like, I don't know. Combat in this game for PvP is just weird.
Let me put you onto something. Getting your degree online. No, but seriously, this is something a lot of people sleep on. Well, we actually have over 200,000 students online, but...
Additional extraction point located. Wait. What about the samples? Hey! That's mine! Democracy isn't done with you yet. Pelican 1 beginning ascent. Craft keep. Keep growing up. So you can imagine my interest when I heard about the Minecraft movie coming out, but the movie itself was certainly, yeah. now. I prefer Pop-Tart Guap's rendition of the Minecraft lore because I'm so cool and dark and edgy. I wasn't nearly as big of a fan of Terraria. I've played a handful of times throughout my life, but I've always seen the two games compared, and with the release of the Minecraft movie, I saw Steve pit against the Terrarian in a versus match. People obviously had their surface level opinions, but it doesn't take long to see why Steve versus the Terrarian is not close. We'll start with Steve since I'm a lot more knowledgeable on Minecraft, and it's also just a lot simpler to cover. Starting off with physical stats, Steve is able to run at over 7 meters per second, punch down most blocks with his bare hands if given enough time, from oak trees to diamond ores, practically infinite stamina as long as he has food. Oh, and he can lift the weight of multiple universes at any given time, no big deal. Steve has been stated to have infinite strength because he's able to hold essentially an infinite amount of blocks through the use of shulker boxes. I personally find it much more likely that Steve's inventory, even like his hotbar, acts as more of a pocket dimension that he can call stuff from, rather than being like a backpack. Not to say he isn't strong or even capable of carrying multiple tons at a time, it just doesn't really mean that Steve has infinite physical power and can just flick opponents into the sun or something. Because Minecraft obviously has its combat system, and the only way this line of reasoning works is if you wink every mob in the game to at least this level of durability. From the Ender Dragon to some random chicken you find in the overworld. Plus, lifting and striking strength aren't one-to-one anyways. The biggest difference between the two is their gear. Although there are a few swords and armors, there's a very clear line of progression from worst gear to best gear, so we'll only be taking Netherite into account. Netherite nullifies 80% of all incoming damage, just like diamond armor, with the added benefit of being much more durable, reducing knockback from attacks, and since ancient debris is found in literal hell, it's also completely fireproof as well as being blast resistant, similar to other blocks like obsidian. Steve is able to hurt the Ender Dragon, who is able to completely shrug off attacks from creepers and the Wither, whose explosions can be calced from large building level all the way up to large town level, depending on the specific blocks you want to use to calculate the force of their explosions. The Ender Dragon is also able to tear through any and all blocks in the way for flight pattern, no issue. Old Jean here takes no damage from ramming her body against some of the strongest blocks in the game. It can still be damaged and killed by the player, so getting a concrete attack on Steve is tricky, but since Steve around large town level on average isn't too much of a stretch. On top of his armor and sword, Steve has an axe that does even more damage than a sword does, at the cost of attacking slower. A bow, a crossbow, a trident, as well as an assortment of potions which he can throw, drink, or tip his arrows with. And of course, the newest weapon, the mace, which does a ton of damage when attacking from a height. For added mobility, he can fly around with an elytra, or instantly teleport around by throwing an ender pearl. His enchants give his weapons and armor special abilities. Using a hypothetical maxed out kit here, his sword deals extra damage to undead creatures with smite, and to buggy creatures with Bane of Arthropods. Light things on fire, knock things back far distances, and attack a wide range of enemies with sweeping edge. And of course sharpness, which increases damage in general. The bow can also light things on fire and knock back enemies, as well as a base increase to damage with a power enchantment. Most notably though, it never runs out of arrows. His trident can summon lightning from the sky, as well as return to him as if it was Thor's hammer. His crossbow does more damage than the bow at the cost of reload speed. Multi-shot shoots multiple arrows at once, and more impressively, piercing increases its damage, mitigating some resistances armor grants, as well as completely shooting through shields. Steve's shield is able to completely negate most forms of damage. Swords, punches, fireballs, as well as blocking and reflecting arrows back at the attacker. Last but not least, the mace has a few of the same enchants as his sword, fire aspect, Bane of Arthropods, smite, but it does come with a few of its own. Breach increases the damage for every block Steve falls off of. Wind burst channels wind across the area and launches Steve back up into the air. And my personal favorite, Breach, which reduces effectiveness of armor by up to 60%. Aside from weapons, Steve has access to multiple potions. Regeneration, instant health, invisibility, fire resistance, and strength all buff Steve himself, while poison, slowness, and weakness are applied on the opponent. All potions can be thrown, drunk directly, or used to tip arrows, which then cast the effect on the target. As for armor enchants, Steve becomes extra resistant to explosions, all forms of projectiles, fire, falls slower with feather falling, damages melee attackers with thorns, and a flat reduction to damage across the board with regular old protection. So with the Minecraft player out of the way, how does he stack up against the player from Terraria? So Terraria has a lot more items and weapons than Minecraft does. Unlike Minecraft, which does have items and weapons that are objectively more powerful versions of previous gear, Terraria has a lot more variety. So much so that it's hard to get one solid scenario that this fight plays out in. There are tons of different weapons alone. Swords, spears, guns, axes, staves, bows, whips, etc, etc, etc. Plus different armors that augment the player's proficiency with said weapons. Plus extra abilities like summons and magic and whatever. A big difference between the two combatants is their mobility. The Terrarian has access to tons of different mounts and wings. And even if you don't want to count mounts for whatever reason, the wings should be relative to Steve's elytra, putting the two around the same speed without buffs. But Terraria's wings give a lot more free lateral movement for combat when compared to Minecraft's elytras, which force you into a more straightforward flight path for travel. Exactly how powerful and durable the Terrarian is depends on the stage of the He should roughly scale to each of the game's bosses since he's able to kill and take hits from each of them. A solid starting point is the Eater of Worlds, who can dig through Evanstone, which is completely immune to the explosions of something like dynamite. Using this picture as a basis, we can assume that the Eater of Worlds is at least city block level, so basically, he's a fraud. But a weaker, earlier version of the Terrarian should at least be in the city to multi-city block level. But the player in the late game to end game is a different beast entirely, now being able to go toe-to-toe with the game's final boss, the Moon Lord, who is essentially just Cthulhu, who is more than capable of taking over and destroying the world of Terraria. I don't think it'd be exactly fair to scale this Cthulhu to the version of H.P. Lovecraft's books, since this is a different take on the character. That being said, the Moon Lord should still roughly scale to his whole counterpart. Even lowballing his power and taking his name at face value, the Moon Lord should output enough destructive power to destroy a moon, or roughly 30 exatons of TNT. This would, if my math is correct, which it probably isn't, this would already make the Terrarian at least 30 trillion times stronger and more durable than Steve. Of course, this is already taking the Terrarian's endgame gear into account, as opposed to Steve, who could roughly scale to large town level with his weaker gear than, say, Netherite or Diamond. Let's do some mental gymnastics. Let's say the Ender Dragon is island level in both AP and durability. Hell, even large island level due to her ability to tear through blocks like Netherite no issue, and the fact that the Ender Dragon can destroy large bodies of land like islands. Now, using her HP as the basis of her durability, we can say that the Warden is 2.5 times more durable, putting it into the small country level. Steve can kill the Warden from about 100 blocks in the air with the use of the mace, using the highest Y level in Minecraft, and adding the lowest Y level, and rounding up to 400, and applying the Density 5 enchantment, which gives 2.5 extra damage per block fallen. This means, at best, Steve can attack with 12.5 teratons of TNT, or the lower end of country level. This would put the Terrarian at 2.4 million times stronger than Steve at best. Let's go crazier and add those strength and weakness potions into the mix, and double Steve's AP and half the Terrarian's durability, which isn't how the potions work, but bear with me. Steve is still country level at 25 teratons of TNT, while the Terrarian would now be multi-continental at 15 exatons, or 600,000 times stronger. And that's in this perfect scenario where Steve actually lands the hit and the Terrarian doesn't just, move out the way. And the difference in pure physicals already makes this fight a one-sided stomp. But even if we equalize stats like speed, strength, and durability, there's still a huge gap in gear. I mentioned the amount of weapons Terraria has, but they are so insane that Steve's arsenal just wouldn't be able to compete. The Vortex Beater shoots rapid-fire bullets, as well as homing missiles. Nebula's Blaze is a glove that siphons power from Orion's belt to do insane damage. Summoning Staffs, which can bring in intangible dragons, or a bunch of spiders. Or the Zenith, a sword made out of a bunch of other powerful swords, which can attack from afar in a barrage of blades. As well as armor sets, which boost aspects like melee damage or projectile damage, but can also give an extra ability like protective shields or invisibility. Not to mention his set of potions, which are much more impressive and offer more effects, including thorns, damage increase, taking less damage, wall hacks on all nearby enemies, even invisible ones, invisibility, and creating a ring of fire around himself that burns enemies. He also has access to other things like an Ankh shield, which would protect him from any harmful potion Steve would throw at him. And that's if Steve can even land a hit. The Terrarian's maneuverability would let him avoid pretty much any projectile Steve could hit him with, since avoiding high-speed projectiles isn't anything new in Terraria. At best, Steve could tag him with a lightning strike from the Trident, and this completely removes Steve's only feasible win condition via mace straight to the head from a couple miles in the air. Steve's shield could possibly block most hits for a while, but unlike the rest of his gear, which for all intents and purposes is unbreakable, his shield is not and can break with a few hour mining session down in the caves. I do think that Steve can put up a fight if we were to even out the physicals. Steve can attack intangible enemies like Vexes, and enchants like Smite and Bane can help mow through some summons, as well as access to Totems of Undying and Gapples. Steve could stay in it for a bit. Also, the two are canonically immortal, so that part's a non-factor here. I just don't want to get spammed in the comments. The Terrarian is just way stronger, way faster, way more durable, and has thousands of options to hit Steve with. But since we're here, creative mode, Steve just deletes him, /kills.
Ben from Ben and Jerry's goes berserk in a congressional budget hearing.
What I'm presenting today supports these goals or less.
Members of the audience. They had to carry her out. Look at her. Oh no. Members of the audience. Jesus! Who's doing this shit? I don't even know what he's saying.
The committee conducts its business. The individuals from the hearing room.
Something about kills?
That was a vague C-SPAN moment. The secretary will resume.
Why is it that the guy that's selling ice cream, there's like 2,000 calories in a tub of it that's this big? Why do you think he's mad about RFK? God, so he got arrested after protesting the war in Gaza? What is this? And 6 other people have been arrested. Congress kills poor kids in Gaza by buying bombs and pays for it by kicking kids off Medicaid in the U.S. This is what I find to be so annoying, is that I actually agree with these people in a lot of these cases. Why the fuck are we paying for Israel's bombs? Like, it's not even that they're...
All right, extraction, or at least close to extraction, looks pretty...
What the fuck is he eating? Or is his mom forcing him to... I'm gonna text him.
Alright, extraction, or at least close to extraction, looks pretty clear. Alright, so let's call all the reads you got, you can really maximize on how many kills you get for all of your ammo. I don't know how to describe it, but you can get a lot of kills with how much ammo you have. And second, the reason I took the hover pack now is because you see those big meatball guys? The flesh mob? I just like calling them meatballs. They're not a threat when you fight them one-on-one, but the thing is, you're never really fighting the meatballs one-on-one. There's always at least like 4 or 5 of them, and it doesn't matter what weapon you have with you. You will never have enough ammo or enough firepower to take them all down before they get close to you. So with this loadout, you have to play safe. We're going to try to fly up onto high up spaces, like on top of those rocks or on top of the buildings, clear out all the enemies below us, and then progress forward, because we just can't face them toe-to-toe, especially on solo. Like, when you're playing with the team, sure, you have a better chance, but on solo, no. As soon as you have to reload or you start focusing on, let's say, one of the meatballs, the Voltless overrun you. Or if you're focusing on the Voltless, then the meatballs overrun you. And let's say you try focusing on both.
There comes a time in I don't care for chopping. I don't care for chopping up humans and throwing them in these jars. It would not stop me from eating mayonnaise. I don't care how disgusting the process is. I don't care if they're literally sewer diving and scraping the remnants off the walls of the sewer system and putting it in jars. It would not stop me from eating mayonnaise. That's how good it is. Don't care.
According to one theory, mayonnaise originated in the town of Mahon in Spain, where it was known as salsa mayonesa. Mayonnaise makes sandwiches zestier,
Duke's mayonnaise. Y'all ever had this brand? Duke's mayonnaise. Is it good? I ain't never heard of no Duke's action. Was it Hellman's? Dude, Hellman's mayonnaise. Oh, dude. Oh, man. Hellman's mayonnaise, and you get the little squirt top. It's good.
turns canned tuna into tuna salad, hard-boiled eggs into egg salad, and is a creamy dip for French fries Belgian style. Mayonnaise recipes vary, but all have eggs and oil as the main ingredients. The eggs can be all yolks, all whites, or a combination of both. At this mayonnaise factory, the raw eggs arrive in liquid form by tanker truck.
What?
They've been pasteurized to kill off salmonella and other common bacteria.
Bonnie with the
egg supplier has also cleaned and sealed the tank valve, an additional food safety precaution. A worker clamps a sanitary evacuation hose to the tank, then with a few blows of a mallet, releases the valve.
So it's straight egg action going through here.
A pump draws the eggs through the hose into a refrigerated receiving tank. The second main ingredient, soybean oil,
Oh, it's straight up eggs in that tanker.
arrives by railway
So every time you see one of these on the rails, it's straight egg action.
tanker car. Like all bulk ingredient deliveries, for food safety, the tank is sealed at the supplier to ensure it isn't opened prior to arrival here.
Oh, that's soybean oil, my bad.
A pumping system transfers the oil to a large holding tank. Meanwhile, factory workers weigh out the ingredients that make up this company's
Red 40. They say that stuff will kill you. I don't know if that's Red 40 or not.
secret blend of spices. Next, they mix this spice blend with white vinegar, cider vinegar, and salt. Then they add liquid natural flavors.
Liquid natural flavors, huh? No, that's somebody's boot.
10 out of 10 friends say you have to go to that new place, which you have zero time for. Fortunately, DoorDash knows all your neighborhood hotspots. Shake up your dinner routine. Order with DoorDash.
Okay.
carpentry is something that I really started doing at a young age, since I was like 11, and ever since then it's something that I'm really passionate about. And when I found out they had this program in here, I got really excited. I'm here just to prove everybody wrong, because I'm a mom and a woman, so I just hope for the better in here.
Right there is what it is.
They pour this mixture into a large tank of room temperature water, producing what they call a slurry. The raw eggs, meanwhile, have been
slurry?
to a large refrigerated holding tank. So now there are 3 holding tanks at the ready: a slurry tank, an egg tank, and an oil tank. A computerized proportioning system extracts the required amount from each tank and sends it to a mixing vessel. A couple of minutes of mixing at high agitation merges the eggs, oil, and slurry into tangy, creamy mayonnaise.
Oh my God. Hold on, what?
A couple of minutes of mixing at high agitation merges the eggs.
Oh yeah, my quote was, you don't make that your senior quote. You don't have to, yeah, that was it.
Oil and slurry into tangy, creamy mayonnaise. The factory draws samples periodically and sends them to its quality control department for analysis. The lab technicians there evaluate several criteria, such as color, consistency, and of course, flavor. In this test, for example, they mixed the mayo with phenolphthalein pH level indicator and deionized water to check the acidity level. Once the mayonnaise passes quality control inspection, this rotary filler dispenses it into recyclable polyethylene jars.
Oh, man.
It fills each jar in just a quarter second. Machine
it's so good, though, bro.
Twists on a plastic cap. Inside the cap is a foil seal. This machine uses targeted induction heat to fuse the seal to the rim of the jar, without heating the mayonnaise in the process.
Okay.
The seal preserves freshness and indicates the jar wasn't tampered with after leaving the factory.
Duke's is the only way to go.
Labeling.
Bro, ain't nobody in here eating Duke's mayonnaise. Matter of fact, I speak for everybody in this chat right now. There's not a single person in here that has a jar of Duke's mayonnaise in their house.
It glues on one end of the label, spins the jar to wrap the label around, then glues down the other end.
If you ain't rocking helmets, I don't know what to tell you, bro.
The Quality Control Lab also performs some post-production spot.
Hellman's is cheap crap. I didn't know I had the mayonnaise, Monarch in here.
Spot checks.
Kraft is good, too. What is this? Exactly. Don't nobody use Duke's mayonnaise. This poll proves all y'all wrong, bruh. Ain't nobody using no Dookie. I don't know if Duke's mayonnaise is good or not. I'm not hating on it and saying it's bad. All I know is I don't know how you get better than Hellman's. I really don't know. I don't know, bruh.
In this test, technicians use a machine called a viscometer to measure the product's consistency. The fact
Kraft is good too. I will say Kraft is pretty good too, but it don't mess with Hellman's though.
Factory also packages its mayo into single-serving pouches. They're made of polyethylene film on one side, foil printed with the product label on the other. This multitasking machine forms rows of pouches.
We'll do a blind test of mayo. That probably make me sick, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It has to be on like some straight mayo. Here's the thing about mayo, it's so good on a sandwich or something. But like if you eat straight mayo, you know what I mean? Mayo alone is nasty. Not gonna lie, mayo by itself is nasty. But if you put it on something, it makes everything better. Am I spit?
Inserts about 4 ounces of mayonnaise per pouch, then seals and separates the pouches.
Who eats mayo by itself?
These pouches,
You know what? I guarantee there's at least one person watching this eating mayo straight out of a jar right now.
are shipped to ready-made sandwich vendors and fast food restaurants, whose customers need mayo on the go.
Because you gotta think about it, Chad. There might be at least one person in here
Oh.
eating mayo straight out the jar. Type 1 if you're that person. Hellman's little squirt top with the 5 gifted. Exactly. You get the Hellman's with the little squirt top. You know what? The process of mayo was not that bad.
What is that?
You know what's probably gonna be bad? Oh man.
It's not crafty.
Alright, last one. Maybe.
It's your craft.
And me.
Shut up! I don't want to buy shit on Amazon. I want to look at shit.
Busy people rely on shortcuts buds to help prepare meals.
A whole bunch of people a day about to get ruined.
Nowadays, you can stock your pantry with cans of pre-cooked meat, so there's always something on hand to use in sandwiches, stews, stir-fries, and other tasty dishes. This canned meat is meticulously hand-produced by a craft cannery and made in small batches.
Never heard of Keystone? Y'all eat Keystone?
Contains no artificial ingredients or preservatives, just meat and sea salt. When a shipment of
You
meat...
said what?
It contains no artificial ingredients or preservatives, just meat and sea salt. When a shipment of meat arrives at the cannery, the quality control manager records its lot code for tracking purposes.
He lied.
As a food safety precaution, he confirms the temperature of the meat, which must come in between 0 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit. A skilled butcher then inspects the meat.
I'm skilled butcher that inspects the meat.
Bro, what the fuck were you doing? Holy shit. That was like an hour. You said you were gonna go
eating.
eat. Bullshit! No one eats that. What the fuck were you eating?
Nachos.
You have a small ass stomach. You eat like a piece of bread and you're full. Nachos? What do you mean? Nachos? No one eats nachos for an hour. You're a lying sack of shit. What were you doing? You were texting her, weren't you?
I was also eating and talking to my mom and texting her and doing that all at the same time. Also got rejected by her. Again.
You're not rejected.
I did.
No, I guarantee you if I see the text, she's gonna be flirting with you again. Also, I called it. Bro fucking was gone for an hour. Said, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna eat.
Ooh, ooh. Bro, what the fuck? These are goddamn.
What is your vigor at?
Oh, no.
I need to look at your health. What's your stat at?
What's yours at?
27.
Mine is at 11.
Health at all. Yeah, okay. This is gonna be a fucking Elden Ring experience all over again, I swear to God. Alright, my sign is down.
Hey, at least we have 25 members.
When bro doesn't learn after years of experience. Why am I getting two-shot? It's almost like I should level up health in these games when things fucking two-shot me. But no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna brute force it. You fucking fucker. Goddamn. Every time. Why do you always do this to me?
Why is it you?
What?
Never mind. Alright, let's do this.
Hang on, I got a ring for you.
Oh, here it is. Yo. Oh. I mean, I can wear that. Mom wants me to take a shower. Oh my god.
We're never gonna play this game, bro.
Okay, let me take like 5-minute shower real fast.
Dude, I'm ending stream. I've been waiting for an hour, and now you're like, I gotta shower.
Okay, I'm gonna take a shower.
I'm not.